Hello, internet friends. Welcome back once again. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I'm going to start off with a brief apology. In the last video that I posted, I was a little bit dishonest, albeit unintentionally. I told you guys, oh, I got my computer fixed, all the issues are done, got the new charger, and everything's going to be great. I'm going to be posting more frequently. And immediately following that, my charger that I had got online decided it didn't want to work either, so I ended up uh, going back to the same computer issues. This time, I believe we have them all figured out. Eventually, I went down to Yakima, went to Best Buy, took my computer in, got it figured out, sent this other charger back. Um, the one I have is now working, and I'm trying to get caught up on the videos. The other thing is that training has been absolutely wrecking me lately. My recovery has been incredibly challenged. The volumes that we had been working with for the past 3 or 4 weeks, ever since I got back from California, have been absolutely uh, just taking their toll on me. And I'm going to be completely transparent and say that my motivation to take the footage and edit it together and share it with everybody has been, I've just been hesitant, not because I don't want to share it, but just because the motivation to actually put things together and come up with talking points has just been challenged. And there are seasons of your life where you go through that. There are times that something that you do enjoy, something that can bring you joy in your life, ends up being more challenging, and you have to give a little bit more of yourself to get through it. And that's kind of what I've been experiencing. We're not always highly motivated, even if you are driven to continue improving and working towards your goals, even if you have that end goal in mind and you have the drive to want to continue to add to that progression, it doesn't always mean that in that moment or in that kind of that season of your life that the motivation for the right now is at its highest level. And um, when you're going through some pretty severe fatigue debts, that's what tends to happen. So that's what I was going through. We had me running more volume, I think, than I've ever actually done before, with some pretty crazy loadings. And so you're going to be watching sort of selected clips from the last 3 or 4 weeks of training. I tried my best in this video to actually get you guys all caught up. I think I have 2 other sessions that I've done that I wasn't able to include in this just because I need to get a video out. I told you guys I'd be more consistent about it, and I accept full responsibility that I've been slacking on that. But the good news is that I feel like we are kind of out of the woods in terms of that kind of down period, which I've gone through before, and it's not a fun place to be. It's not the most exciting feeling to feel constantly. Challenge is good, pushing yourself for growth is good, but feeling whelmed at least, not necessarily overwhelmed because I was able to handle it without completely breaking down and missing things. But it was taking my full attention and my full effort just to get through the sessions. So that's kind of what you guys are seeing here. I picked the top sets, and then I tried to pick some that were good indicators of kind of how the technique was holding up and or breaking down. So there's going to be a mix of good-looking lifts in here, I guess, relative to how they normally look, and then you're going to probably see some lifts that are pretty bad. Anytime that I'm doing a conventional deadlift, I apologize in advance for what you're going to be witnessing. My mobility work has been a challenge. Hitting all my positions consistently has been a challenge. A lot of these clips that look relatively easy or smooth are much more challenging in the moment than they maybe appear in the video. I've been doing a really good job of making things look easy when I'm absolutely feeling crushed. And so if something looks hard, it was probably pretty taxing on that day. Um, and A couple of other things to keep in mind, just because I've been thinking a lot about training, I've been thinking a lot about the effort that it takes to get yourself ready and the commitment to kind of the full encompassed idea behind the pursuit of improvement is that you need to have balance in your life. You need to have other things that can be your outlet, and you need to have a way to kind of decompress because if all you're doing is stressing and worrying about this one pursuit, it becomes bigger than it is. It becomes more challenging if you're constantly stressing. You never allow yourself to actually release from the tension of trying to perform optimally and trying to keep pushing and doing your absolute best. And you end up in a place that's not as healthy. You end up not getting your recovery. You're never able to actually calm down and relax and recover from the pursuit itself. And so that's kind of something that I was going through. I noticed since I've been doing the squats with the heeled shoe, I think that's been a part of it. I think that the switch to that different footwear has been challenging me in different ways. It's definitely been exposing some weaknesses, and even though I feel like my technique in those has improved from where it was at the beginning, I actually think that because of some of the weaknesses that I have found in that, my recovery is being challenged even more, and the fact that we're basing my percentages and my workloads on a max that was done, or on a max that is compared to a flat soled PR for me, or a flat soled working training max, and then switching to this new completely different movement because of the equipment has challenged my recovery in a different way, and I haven't been able to keep up with it. So I think that for the time being, I'm going to switch back at least my heavy squats back into the flat shoe. You're going to see that towards the end of this. It just feels better, and I am able to hit depth. The entire reason I switched from the flats to the raised heel shoe was because I wanted to ensure that my depth was convincing, and that's the ideal. But honestly, I can hit depth in my flats, and if I feel stronger with them, I will be more confident about getting the weight low enough. So I don't think it was a waste of time. I don't think that I was spinning my wheels or doing something that I shouldn't, and it definitely did expose a few weaknesses that I think that Eric Haney and I are going to be able to focus on and improve, because there are so many things that I could be doing better. My positioning is far from perfect. You guys know that that's kind of the idea that I've been working with here, that I'm not perfect, and I'm trying to get better and closer to it, especially with the positioning. So it's always a work in progress. You're never done, and even when you're feeling good and going into a new transitioning to something that maybe is, oh, this is more of a challenge. I'm going to take this new idea, this new process, and try to continue improving with it. Sometimes it doesn't always work. So you're actually going to see there's been a mix of different equipment variation that's going through, especially on the squats. The benching's been pretty consistent in terms of using, my wrist wraps and whatever. For the squats, I noticed that I had been, when I'm using the combination of the slingshot things, the combination of the different Olympic shoes and flat shoes, the different wrist wraps, I do have some thoughts on some of those products. In terms of the Gangsta wraps versus my SBD, the flexible wrist wraps, I prefer the material of the Gangsta wraps. I prefer the Velcro. What I can't handle is the thumb loop. It is just too difficult for me to get a good wrap on my wrist and then get my thumb out of the thumb loop, where the SBDs, the style of that thumb loop is much easier for me to get a solid wrap on my wrist, to protect my elbow and shoulder in the low bar squat, and then to get my thumb out so that it's meat legal. And so that's something that I'm still playing around with, but for the time being, I have switched back to my SBD wrist wraps, and that's kind of my preliminary review of the Gangsta wraps. I really like the material, I like the Velcro, I like everything about them except the thumb loop, and something I'm working on. In terms of knee sleeve, right there you just saw a deadlift that was a pretty disappointing situation for me. I expected much better, and that is kind of where the peak was of my frustration with my preparedness and my recovery in the training. In this session right here, you're seeing that I'm wearing jeans because I didn't have really time to prep for this session, and it was more of it's self-imposed. A lot of times, if something's important for you, if something is your main priority, you make time for it and you make it happen. In this case, it was a pretty late night. I think it was about midnight when I started this particular bench press session, and I didn't even worry about doing much more than a basic warm-up and even switching into my training clothes. I just went in with what I was wearing on the day and tried to make it work, which I think kind of speaks to the place that I was in, a week ago. And in this session that you're going to see, I believe, is when I switched to the flat shoes after a couple of sets with the Olympic heel, and they just felt much more consistent in terms. Even though I've been training in the raised heel shoe for a while now, and getting used to it again, switching back to the flats instantly felt better. Instantly felt like I had many more reps left in the tank, and that it just was taxing my recovery a lot less. So that's something that's going on. Anyway, back to the knee sleeves that I was going to talk about before seeing that frustrated deadlift. I like the gangsta sleeve, or the stronger sleeves from that Mike gave me when I was down at super training. The size that I have for those is a large, where normally I train in my large SBDs, or now the large stronger sleeves, and then I compete with my medium SBDs. At one point in this, you saw that I was wearing my SBDs again. That's because on that day I needed the tighter fit just to get through the sets. I felt so beat up going into them that I absolutely just needed to say, screw it, I can't afford to wear my training sleeves. I have to wear my comp sleeves, or else I'm not going to make it through these squats. And that's kind of the idea that was going through that. The sessions, the green shirt and the blue shirt that you're just now seeing, these couple of sessions are in the new block of programming that Eric and Hanny and I have me running. I talked to them about kind of some of the recovery issues I was having. We brought the squat volume down a little bit to give me a chance to breathe, I guess, a chance to let my recovery catch up, because it has been just so absolutely challenging. And I hope that I'm not discouraging you all from working hard, or bringing a downer in this. I'm just trying to be open and honest about how training's been going and why I have not been feeling as much of a push and a desire to kind of share all this stuff immediately as it was happening. But I am kind of reinvigorated now. I think I'm coming through the season, getting back towards where I'm getting a handle on it again. I'm beginning to manage everything a little better again, and I do have the computer fixed, and things are going from where it felt like a lot of stuff was not going well and not going right. And I think it's important to recognize that there are times when that's going to happen, and you have to be patient with yourself and accept that there are times when it's not going to be awesome, and even something that you care about, even something that you're passionate about, even something that is your biggest pursuit that you spend the most time thinking about and focusing on, there are seasons and there are times when it's going to be more difficult than you want it to be, and it's okay to not always be having the most fun with it. It's okay to have those times when it's more challenging than you're able to handle, because that is how you grow. You grow in those seasons of challenge. You grow in those times when everything isn't coming easily to you. And it's okay to suck sometimes. It's okay for it to not be great. It's okay for it to not be perfect. It's okay to recognize that you're in over your head and you need to take a couple steps back. That doesn't mean that you're not worth it. That doesn't mean that you aren't good enough to do what needs to be done. It doesn't mean that you aren't giving enough to it. It just sometimes means that you have to take a step back, reassess, readjust, and refocus and reestablish a center before you can continue moving forward. And that's kind of what I've been doing. So thank you all for sharing that with me, for watching all of this. If you're still with me on this video, I know it's pretty long, even compared to most of my other videos. I appreciate it very much, and I will be more consistent. I have 2 other sessions combined with one that I'm going to do today. I'll have that in a video as soon as I'm able to, which will definitely be much sooner than this last one was. The break will not be as long. A lot of good things coming. I'm excited about them. I am refreshed. I am rejuvenated. I am rededicated, which is usually what happens to me once I follow a time of difficulty. We're all going to go through them. No one is immune to being over their head and needing time to refocus and recenter and readjust, but it is almost always worth it to experience those lows so that the highs are even higher. And thank you all so very much for being with me when I'm at my lows and for sticking with me when I get to the highs. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. I hope you're all having a great day, and I will talk to you all very, very soon. Thanks. Bye.